Hi and welcome back to Let's Explore Pitch for Key Stage 2. Today's lesson is about exploring how we can develop our pieces that we composed last week even further. And today we're going to be focusing on dynamics. We're also going to be looking at how we can transfer our graphic notation into proper musical notation. So we're going to be learning about rhythmic notation, and we're going to be mainly learning about crotchets and quavers. Now you may have already heard about these before, and you may already know what they are and how to draw them, how to write them. So if you do, that's great, but if you don't, I'll teach you along the way. Okay, so for a start, we're going to do some copying back. So I have got my jars that I used last time. So I've got my C, D, E, F and G. Now I have tuned my jars because listening back, I thought they're not quite the right notes. Now, even though they're not exact notes, they are in the right pattern. So we've got what I'm going to call a C, although it's not a proper C, and a D, and an E, and a G, and an A. C, D, E, G, A. C, D, E, G, A. So there's a gap between our E and our G. Before, when I didn't tune the jars properly, then they were slightly different notes. So I've tuned them by adding some water. I don't know if you can see that just there. And that's made the pitch lower for my E and for my G. So we've got some water in there, and also for the A there. So to start off with, I'm going to play a pattern and I would like you to sing it back. And if you want to use your hand signs to show where the different pitches are, that would be great. Okay, so here we go. Nice simple one for a start. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Now they were quite fast, so I'm going to do some slightly slower, and I'm going to let you sing it back this time without me singing this back. Here we go. Two more. Well done. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is a bit of improvisation. Now, do you know what improvisation means? Have a little think. Improvisation. Okay, well done if you knew. If you're not sure, improvisation means you're making something up on the spot. Okay, so using your jars, I want you to have a little go at improvising some little tunes. So you'll need to pause your video for this. Get your jars ready if you've not got them ready already. And then just spend a bit of time playing your jars, thinking about the different pitches and what kind of pattern they are. Have you got them ordered from low to high? Are they in a bit of a mix? How do you want them? Maybe they're best in the order for when we go back to your pieces that you created last week. So while you're getting that all ready as well, if you've not got your sheet with you ready, okay, or your piece of paper that you drew on, your notes, your pentatonic instruments, sorry, not your pentatonic instruments, your pentatonic scale, and if you can get that as well, that would be great. So I'm going to pause the video in a moment, get your jars ready, get your sheet, and have a go at improvising a tune. So I'm going to just show you a short improvisation that I'm going to make up. I don't know what I'm going to play yet. I'm just going to give it a go. Here we are. Okay. Okay, so just a simple tune, just playing your jars in whatever order you like. So have a little go of that. When you've got everything ready, come back and I'll see you in a moment, and then we'll be having a think about our rhythmic notation and our dynamics. Okay, so pause your video and I'll see you shortly. Pause. Welcome back. I hope you got on okay with your improvisation. So you were improvising and what you created was an improvisation. Do you remember last time we talked about you being a composer and you were composing a composition? Okay, so we're going to use that today. So before we get on to our dynamics, we're going to think about our compositions. Now we created these using a 5-note scale. Can you remember what it's called? It begins with P. Shout it out if you know it. If you can't remember right now, have a little think. Think about the shape that you might use in maths or in drawing that begins with P, that has 5 sides, and that's the beginning of our word as well. That's right, it's a pentatonic scale. So 5 notes, 5 pitches. Okay, so we used our pentatonic scale to create our melody, our tune. And we used our grids, if you remember last time, and we were writing down our long and short notes with lines, so a graphic notation, so not proper notes. So we used the letters to write down the pitches, and we used the long lines and the shorter lines to show whether it was a long note or a short note. So I'm just going to play the first bit of mine. Okay, so it goes C, D, G, G, E, A, G, G, E, E, D. So I'll try and remember that. Have a little watch. Okay, so you can hear where the long notes are from my long lines and the short notes. And we're going to learn how to write that in rhythmic notation, so actually in musical notes. So our 1-beat note, which is our long note, is called a crotchet. And I'm going to draw that out. So it's kind of an oval shape that you want to draw. And then it's got a stick that goes on the right-hand side of that blob. So it looks like that. Okay, and that is a crotchet. And a crotchet lasts for 1 beat, is a whole 1-beat note. Okay, so there we go. A crotchet which lasts for 1 beat. Now our quicker notes, our shorter lines, are our quavers. And so you're going to draw 2 crotchets again when you have a go, and again the sticks from the right hand side, but instead of leaving them like that, we're going to draw those 2 together across the top. So we're going to make them look like that, and that is called a pair of quavers. Pair of quavers. Now you can draw them separately as well, but just for neatness in music we draw them across the top. But let me show you what they look like separated as well. They've got a kind of little curly bit off the top of them. Okay, so there they are separate. Can you see them there? And there they are joined together across the top. See, they're a bit neater. Now each of these notes here lasts for half a beat. Half and half. So they are half a beat each. So thinking that they are half and half, oops, how much does that add up to altogether? Half plus a half That's right, it lasts the same amount as our crotchet beat. Okay, so our crotchet beat you can divide into two with our quavers. Let me just show you how that would look. It's a very big quaver. We don't normally have the line that long going across. There. Okay, so on your sheet, if you need a fresh copy, I've printed a new copy of this. If you need a new copy, then please print one off if you can. If not, just use another piece of paper. So I've started to write out my phrases across the top. I'm going to just write in my first box, which is C, D, G, G, E. Now, instead of the long lines, the two short lines and the long line, I'm going to do a crotchet, crotchet, a pair of quavers and a crotchet. So let me just quickly do that just so that you can see what it looks like. So I've got a crotchet, two 1 beat notes, and then I've got my two 1/2 beat notes, and then I've got another crotchet. And it looks like that. Can you see that okay? So C, D, G, G, E. C, D, G, G, E. So it's exactly the same as you played it before, as you wrote it before, apart from we're using now our musical rhythmic notation. Okay? What I would like you to do now is to pause your video, and I want you to have a go at transferring the notes that you'd got on your original sheet from last time, and I want you to have a go at, instead of the short notes, doing a pair of quavers, and for the long notes I want you to, for the long line, sorry, I want you to draw a crotchet, not a quaver. So the short lines are your quavers and your long lines are the crotchets. Now the short lines, you do a quaver for each line, but remember to join them across the top as a pair afterwards. I'm just going to show you that because the next bit gets a bit more confusing. A, G, G, for me anyway, on my piece. So I've got a pair of A's, a pair of G's, a pair of E's and a D. So for each A, I'm going to draw a quaver. I'm going to draw a blob under each note first. That might be an easier way if you're a little bit confused. Let me show you that. So I've done a blob under each letter. A, G, G, E, E, D. Now for the first few notes, because they're quick ones, I just need to draw a line across and down, a line up, across and down, up, across and down. So my first 6 notes are quavers and then just a crotchet note for my D. Okay, so that looks like this. And that is it with the lines in place. Okay, have a go. If you get confused, don't worry. Just have another recap, maybe rewind the video, have another listen to how I'm explaining it, and then I'll show you again when we've got back together. So first thing, get your sheets, copy out the letters, and then think about the blobs underneath, and then look to see whether it's a long line or a short line as to whether you're going to make it a crotchet or quavers. Okay, good luck. I'm sure you'll get on really well with this, and then I'll meet you back here in a moment. Okay, so off you go. Rhythmic notation. Pause. Hi, welcome back. How did you get on? Okay, so I got on okay, but I did come across a bit. Do you remember last time we met in last lesson, we talked about taking away notes as well, didn't we? And I came across this. Can you see here? So I've got C, A, G. Now I took away this note here. So I was not sure if you knew, if you'd got a gap like this, of what to do here. So my music went C, A, G. Let me play it to you. Let me do it one more time. Okay, so what we need to do there is we need to create a rest. and it's a 1 beat rest because all of these boxes add up to 4. Remember, these are 1, 1, 1 all together because they're half and half plus 1. So everything adds up to 4. Now this adds up to 1, 2, 3. So I need to draw a rest in here, and a 1 beat rest, a crotchet rest, looks like this. It's a funny kind of squiggle. Can you see that there? Okay. So that is what you'll need to write in if you've got any 1 beat rests anywhere. Okay. What I would like you to do is to go back to your sheet, have another go, and then when you've got it written out, I would like you to have a go at playing it and reminding yourself about how it sounds on your jars. Okay. And then when you've had a good go at that, come back and we'll move on to the next bit when we're going to look at the dynamics. Okay, all right, get ready to pause and I'll see you shortly. I hope you're getting on okay with that. Another idea I've had is if you're getting a little bit stuck about how you're going to write your notation down, what I did on my last line, I don't know if you can see that. So just under each letter name, I drew the little line that I had before. And then for the ones that are double notes, so the quavers, the 2 quavers together, the pair of quavers, I did a little line underneath to show that they were joined together. Can you see? And that helped me to remember when I needed to draw my quavers, crotchet, quavers, crotchet. It helped me to remember which ones that I was joining up and not having to keep looking back to my old sheet. So that's also something you could do if that helps you. Okay, so if you need to pause the video again now, then please do so. I'm going to carry on and talk about dynamics. Now, I'm hoping you know what dynamics are, but if you can't remember, dynamics are how loud or quiet the music is. So you might need to try some different implements, some different things that you can use as your beaters. So before, when I was playing the notes to you at the beginning of this session, I was using the pencil. Now that is not very loud, it's quite soft. So I thought I'd get a wooden spoon and I'd try the handle. Now that sounds okay, but I don't think you can hear the note very clearly. So then I am going to have a go with a very long teaspoon, and let's have a listen to this. I personally think that that is the clearest sound, and depending on how hard you hit your jars, be very careful. We don't want any breaking. You could also hit the edge of them as well. So you could see which bit sounds the loudest. But because you can play quite loudly with this, if you hit it a little bit gentler, then you can also play it quietly. Okay, so have an experiment with a few different things, and then I want you to have a go at your piece. Now you can think, I'm going to start loudly so it sounds nice and confident, or you might decide to start your piece quietly and build it up, and then maybe gradually bring it down again at the end. So you can experiment, and this is improvising as well. You're improvising with the dynamics, so seeing which ones you prefer. So I'm going to just start my piece and let's have a listen. I'm going to start quite strongly, so I'm going to start quite loudly because I want it to sound confident at the beginning. And let's have a little listen. If you hear me going quieter, I want you to go like that. And if you hear me going louder, I want you to go like that. So this way for quieter and this way for louder. Okay, so have a go, see how you get on. Oop, I've played it wrong. Let me start it again. Okay, so I went a bit wobbly in some of those bits. I kept missing my jars a little bit, so sorry about that. But experiment yourselves now. And how did you get on with how loud or quietly? Hopefully you heard that okay. So I would like you to experiment with that. If you need to finish writing your notation down, then please do that first. And then for the rest of the lesson, I want you to explore different dynamics. And then I want you to think about how you're going to write them down. Okay, so you could just use loud, you could use quiet, so you could use an L for loud, a Q for quiet. But in music, we use the word forte for loud and piano for quiet. I'm just going to draw those out, write those out for you so you can see what those words are. So forte is loud, and piano, it's spelt like piano, but these are Italian words, so it's pronounced piano. So we can say soft or quiet. So these are the words here. So we've got forte, loud, and piano, soft and quiet. And we use in music the first letter of those words, like that. So I'm going to show you on my score. I'm going to put an F and I'm going to circle it just to make it clearer. You don't normally do that bit because there's a lot of writing on the page. Let's make it a bit clearer. Now, if you want to get louder, a bit like in maths when you use the sign for greater than, then you can use that sign here as well. And that in music is a crescendo. Crescendo. Okay. Lots of new words. A crescendo. Can you see that my greater than is a little bit bigger than the ones you might use in maths? And then if we want to get gradually quieter, it's called a diminuendo or a decrescendo. So you can use either of those words, decrescendo or diminuendo. Just draw those on there. So we've got a decrescendo or diminuendo, and that's your less than sign. So you're getting quieter in music. Okay, so you're greater than, getting louder, getting bigger, and then getting smaller. We start from the loud point and getting quieter. Decrescendo or diminuendo. Okay. So let's have a little think. So you could just start with an F and you think, okay, I'm going to get gradually louder and then I'm going to get gradually quieter and I'm going to end up at F. So in the middle, we're going to be really loud. Okay. And you can see that on my drawing. You can just see the hairpins here. Not very clear because it's merged into that line there. But have a go. So there's lots of information there. So just to recap, the first thing, finish writing your music out in crotchets and quavers. Then the second part, have a go at playing them on your jars without any dynamics at all and get used to what you created last week. If there's bits you don't like, change them, it's fine. And then add in any rests, so your squiggly line. And then after you've done all that, maybe have a tiny break, and then you can go on to having a think about the dynamics. Okay. When you've got a piece together, practice it. Practice makes perfect or nearly perfect. And then see if there's somebody that you can play it to. If you're at school, you can play it to somebody else in the class. If you're at home, is there somebody there that you can play it to, or save it for later if somebody's working. Okay, I hope you enjoy this. And I look forward to hearing your pieces at some point if you're able to send them in to us next week. Okay, so today has been about using our pentatonic scale piece, our composition. We've been developing it. We've been learning our rhythmic notation. So that's showing the notes, the note lengths, the rhythms through notation, writing them as our crotchets, our one beat notes, and our quavers, our half beat notes that we've joined together. Loads of learning, loads of information. So please rewind the video if you need to go over anything at all. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to learn this, as long as you try and pick up a few bits every now and then. Okay, enjoy the lesson. And I look forward to seeing you next week for our last session on Let's Explore Pitch. Take care then and stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Bye.